guys, it's Kimberly or Been Easy and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about Island 2, my favorite stages, my least favorite, my favorite contestants, and who I think will debut. I want to get this video out before part 2 comes out this Thursday. For me, it's Friday because I watch on Viki. Before I get into the video, I just want to say, yeah, I have been gone a month. That's because I had the hardest class of my life that made me want to DIE. It was physics. It was so difficult, but I'm finally done with physics and I am done with school in 2 more weeks. I should be able to upload after that. But yeah, let's get into the video. Let's start with episode 1. It's not going to be a synopsis. I'm honestly just going to rank the performances and then say who my top 5 was for the episode and talk a little bit about the drama. So for episode 1, my number 6, which was my least favorite performance, was Sweet Venom by Enhypen, performed by Ling Ling, Sabi, Yuna, and Sujong. Unpopular opinion, I did not like the stage. The only thing I liked about this stage was the dancing and Sujong's stage presence. Other than that, I wasn't a big fan of it. Might be because I think the girl's vocal range was not for this song at all. Sweet Venom is a very difficult song to perform and it just didn't hit. Honestly, it was hard to listen to. Dancing was great. Sujong was great. I also think Sabi was good, but honestly, the person who stood out the most was definitely Sujong. My number 5 ranking was Cake by ITZY, performed by Yuiko and Sol and Nana. I was not a fan of the stage either. It's honestly neck and neck with Sweet Venom for number 6. I do think Seoul has quite the potential. She stood out the most in this performance, but overall, they served cuteness and nothing else. Number 4 is Afterlike by IVE, performed by Giri, Fuko, Yeon, Chan, and Jiwon. So to me, Giri and Fuko's vocals saved the stage. They carried the stage. The stage was super cute. Let's be honest here, this is definitely the cute team. But other than that, like, what else did they have? You know, Giddy and Fuko carried. But it was enjoyable. It was a lot better than Sweet Venom and Cake's performance, so I can't be too upset. Number 3 was Baggy Jeans by NCT U, performed by Yui, Coco, and Yuju. This was a pretty good performance, but I have to agree with the judges when they said there was not enough swag. Ew, I hate that word. But there was, not enough savageness in the performance since Baggy Jeans is such a high energy song and you have to be really cool. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't really serve coolness. What am I even saying, guys? But yeah. But I have to say, Yuju, I thought her rap was really good. Coco is a great dancer and Yui also did okay. I just wish Yuju sang her part that she was supposed to, and she definitely would have went to Island, but she didn't. She went to Ground. But overall, this was definitely one of the best performances of the episode. My number 2 pick is Unforgiven by Le Sserafim, performed by Minsol, Sarang, Jiwon, and Jiwon. So this performance was pretty good, honestly. I thought everybody did their job pretty well. They all were super cute. But the one who stood out to me the most in terms of vocals and, stage presence was Minsol. I enjoyed her performance a lot. And my number 1 is Drama by aespa, performed by Mai, Jungin, Jiyoon, and Jimin. I did not watch IU Next. I watched like one episode, gave it up, and then I watched it through Twitter, little clips, and I got pissed off again and I just stopped watching it completely. So I'm not too familiar with Jimin, but she is super cute in this episode and her vocals sound pretty good. I thought the whole group sounded good. For me, her voice was not my favorite in this song. It sounded a bit odd, and it might have been because of the auto-tune mics, because I definitely felt that auto-tune with Jungin as well. But I don't know, it was a great performance. Their vocals stood out. It was a very vocally challenging song, and they did really good. For me, the standout in this performance was Jillian. Like I said, she took on the more harder parts of the song, and she sounded pretty good. My top 5 for this episode was Jimin in number 5. Number 4 is Minsol. Number 3 was Yuju. Number 2 is Jiyoon. And then number 1 is Jungin. Episode 2 was very interesting because we got to see everybody's work ethic. I love the fact that we got to see Yuju be the leader in ground and be such a hard worker when everybody around her was kind of, not really working hard, I guess. The Mnet showed them, kind of just not taking it too seriously, but Yuju really did. Of course, Mnet's gonna like edit things a certain way to make it look a certain way, so I'm not gonna ponder on that too much. Anyways, we also got to see the struggles of choosing parts in a song that fit each member and just all you have to go through to make sure everybody has a part that sounds good, to them. Personally, I've never been the type of person to get upset about line distribution because I know there's a reason. Like maybe the member doesn't sound too good doing a certain, line, so they have to switch it. I've never gotten too mad at it, but this episode showed me a new perspective of that and just like how you could be really put down by getting your lines taken away. In this episode, we saw the effect of your lines being taken away on June. When I first watched this episode, I was honestly really annoyed at Jiyun, but I rewatched it recently and I was like, I get probably how she feels. Like, imagine training for God knows how long. Your time to debut is coming because you're gonna be on the Survivor show. You want to stick out to the public and to the judges, so you choose, you really want to be that main vocalist or the center, and that part gets taken away from you, and I understand why it did. The judges were like, put somebody else in that spot, and Jungin had to make the hard decision, of moving Jiyoon out of there. This really took a turn, for Jiyoon's confidence, which affected her the whole episode and made her not really try as hard as everybody wanted her to, which was very frustrating. Probably not to just us watching, but for the other contestants in Island. Like I said earlier, there's a fat chance that Mnet did some editing, to make it look worse than it really was. But I understand why she would feel this way as I rewatched it, because she's most likely just so frustrated. But I did like how Mai handled her own frustration with getting her lines taken away. She cried to herself and then she put on a good face and was like, I'm gonna do the best I can. And I just wish June did that. In terms of the performance, I liked Island's better than Ground's, but I did like Yuju Center more than Juwon Center. And I thought Sarang should have been center instead of Juwon, but it was fine. It was fine. The performance was fine. I have to say, I'm also pretty proud of Ground because when they got that reality check, they started to do a lot better, especially Chan and Yoon. Chan really did her best. Even though she doesn't sound the greatest, she really did her best and she put all that she could into that line. And the judges saw that as well. Yoon also did well. She freaking sprained her ankle, and I know how bad that hurts. I've sprained my ankle 4 times my whole life. It's not fun pain, but she powered through it, which I hope they actually like give her like doctor what took her to the doctor or something. I don't know. From Ground, this episode, I was definitely rooting for Yuju and Mental the most, and I'm so happy that they got to go to Island after this, especially because Yuju really deserved it. Honestly, I'm pretty indifferent about the voting system. I feel like some girls definitely vote for their friends, but I think a lot of them voted like in terms of okay, who's gonna do well and who's not, which is probably why June got voted out, probably because she did not, at least what Mnet showed, she wasn't being like a team player, I guess you could say. But like I said, Mnet probably edited to make it look worse than what it is. But yeah, that's probably why she got voted out. But Fuko and Giri, I don't really know why they got voted out. I don't know. I thought Fuko did fine. Even though she did get one of the lowest scores, she didn't get the worst score. Anyways, my top 5 for this episode was number 5 was Mai, number 4 is Minsol, number 3 is Jungin, number 2 is Jiyoon, and number 1 is Uju. I know I was kind of tough on Jiyoon this episode, but that's because I really love her vocal tone. Like, she sounds like Rosie of Blackpink, and I know I don't say it often, but I love Rosie's vocals so much. So the fact that Jiyoon reminds me of Rosie, it makes me so happy. And I need her to debut. Like, we can't let this voice go to waste. We can't let this voice go to waste. I just really like how Yuju carries herself. I really do. And I think she's honestly, I prefer her rapping over Yui's as well. Mai's also a very good team player, so that's why I put her in my top five. She also is serving face, and her expressions are really good on stage. She's very eye-catching. Minsel's definitely still in my top five in this episode. She did really well. And then Jungin, I don't think Jungin will ever be out of my top five. She just is a great vocalist, you know? Episode 3 was a mess. Let's just speed through it, child, okay? This episode, I really wanted to jump through the screen and strangle like almost all the contestants, especially in ground. Especially June, guys. Oh gosh, this episode, the girls had to compete with their bestest friends basically. It was really hard to watch them choose the songs they wanted because one girl would really want one song, but the other girl would also want that song. So they were like, the tension was crazy. It was hard to watch, to be honest. Let me just jump into the ranking of the performance for me. Number 4 was definitely like Ua. Mary is the only one who really carried it. June doesn't sound horrible, but she was definitely not confident, which led to her being a little mediocre to what she could really do. As we see in the next episode, she could do so much better. Also, I'm combining like Ua. I know like Ua's in the 4th episode, but I'm combining it with the 3rd episode because that was really annoying, okay? Number 3 is Bad Boy. I have nothing good to say about this performance except that Fuko carried. I believe one more person carried. Was it, who else was in this group really? All I remember is just not liking this this group. To be honest, Yun was not too bad in this performance, but again, I don't think half of them really deserved to go to Island because no, it wasn't really good. But like I said, Fuko did really well. Number 2 was Whistle. They did really good. It's just a bit of a boring it's just a bit of a boring performance. I don't really blame them for that. It's just the song is not too interesting. There's not much going on in the song compared to Panorama. Because you know, Panorama, high vocals, the instrumental's very out there. Like there's a lot going on compared to Whistle. So that's the only fault of it, honestly. But Panorama was much more interesting to listen to and to watch. I really enjoyed it. And I liked seeing, you know, I was gonna say I like seeing them struggle, but that's a bit odd to say. I liked seeing how they did better on the real stage than, you know, the interim check. I like that they lowered it half a note because, you know, they couldn't freaking do that notes. I don't even know how Eyes One did to this day. I don't know how Eyes One made their voice that high, squeaky. But yeah, it was very enjoyable performance. I loved it. So for this episode, my top 5 was Jiyoon in number 5, Mai in number 4, Fuko in number 3, Jungin in number 2, and then Yuju in number 1. Yuju is still my number 1. Yeah, I love Yuju. I love her. In episode 4 and 5, we got the battles. We got the vocal battle, the dance battle was it, and then the creative battle. So Jiyoon and Minsol versus Fuko and Jungin was very difficult because they both did so good. I honestly believe it's a tie. I don't know. I don't know. They both did really good. It's hard for me to say who did better as they're all some of my favorite contestants. Jiyoon finally got the praise she needed for her to continue in the competition. She's in a better mindset this episode, and it's honestly nice to see for once. Mental did really good. She tried really hard. It was a very good performance. To be fair, I don't like either of the songs performed. I do not like those songs, but they did pretty well. Like, I would listen to it again. The dance battle 100% goes to ground. Like, it's not even funny. Like it's not even hard. It's not a hard choice. I honestly fell in love with Sana in this episode. She did so well. Energy, the stage presence, everything was great. Island's team was good too, but Grounds was just unmatched. The creative team sparked a lot of controversy, but I see why Island won because I don't know. They were very creative with what they did. In terms of straight up choreography, Sujong obviously won in my heart because she's literally amazing choreographer and dancer, and the dance was so good and it flowed very smoothly compared to Island's. But I guess in terms of creativity, Island did do that. They used the metal ball. That's so creative. And their depiction of the song was so creative. And we can honestly thank Mai. At the end of the episode, we get Fuko and Jiyoon reuniting. Everybody who got to go to Island came in the metal ball. It was so cute. But then, they're sparking up the drama between Jungin and Jiyoon in this episode a little more than they did before, which this is what I think of them. So they're both in my top 5 because they're great vocally. I don't really understand why June may not like Jungin, because it seems like she doesn't, because she didn't greet her in the past episode. She didn't greet her. So it's like, oh, does she not like her? I don't know what's going on, to be honest, but it's not a sin to not like anybody or to get along with somebody. I just feel like you should just be nice to them. But you know what? Again, it's Mnet. Like, I don't know. And I'm just gonna bring this up. There's many times where idols don't like another member of their group, but they still debut together. For example, Monsta X, they did not. Well, Monsta X and Stray Kids, they both admitted to not liking, a member like, Hyunjin and Han. So I think it's okay. If they debut together, I'm sure they'll, make up and stuff. But yeah, that's what I think about it. My episode 4 or 5 ranking is number 5 Mai, number 4 Jungin, number 3 Fuko, number 2 Yuju, and then number 1 Jiyoon. Episode 6 was undoubtedly probably the most important episode by far. It was the battle of positions. So I'm just gonna jump right into who I thought should have won, who I didn't think should win. So not G, I'm sorry, Yuju versus Mai. I thought that Yuju should have won. I liked Yuju's performance a bit better, but I know the judges really prefer Mai. I like Mai, but I don't know. I thought Yuju did so well for like this tiny line she had. Next was Jungin versus Ling Ling, and I can't believe I am saying this, but I enjoyed Ling Ling over Jungin, guys. What? I did. I enjoyed Ling Ling so much. I feel like she tried so hard, and you could just tell. You could just tell she tried so hard, and it worked because I enjoyed it so much. Vocally, I still like Jungin better, but oh my god, enjoyment wise, I was watching Ling Ling's fan cam and falling in love. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's who I preferred for the position, but I understand why the judges picked Jungin. She's consistent. Next is Jimin versus Sarang, and I have to agree with the judges. I liked Sarang's performance more. It's too bad because I feel like Jimin has so much to offer, but she didn't give herself a longer part that would make her stand out more. Sarang stands out a lot in this position, but I don't think Jimin does, and I wish she chose such like a better part for herself, like the judges said. But she has such a big fan base, including me, and I am voting for her, so yeah. Next is Coco versus Sabi, and I do agree with the judges. Sabi blew me out of the water. Her facial expressions are to die for. If we're just talking about dancing, oh, it's Coco every day. But if we're including facial expressions and expressing the song, is definitely Sabi. I enjoyed her performance more. I watched both fan cams, and Sabi. But I am voting for Coco as well. I did like seeing Coco work really hard to, switch up her facial expressions, and I think she did really good. It's just that Sabi has had that down the whole season, for like all the episodes, so it was quite easy to just be like, oh, Sabi won. Next is Jiyoon versus Sujong. I'm a little upset that Sujong chose main vocal because, oh god, I don't think, honestly, I'm very happy and, proud of her for choosing something that she's not 100% comfortable with, but this is like for the win, you have to choose something that you're super good at, and she didn't do that. But I will say her vocals didn't sound bad at all, but compared to Jiyoon, it's just not possible to win over Jiyoon, honestly. It's like Sujong versus Jungin. That'd be crazy. But it was nice seeing how hard she worked. Even though her confidence was broken down, she got back up, and that's very admirable. And I think she'll have a very big fan base voting for her this time. So we'll see on Thursday, guys. Lastly, Fuko versus Yui. I am calling it a tie. I don't know what it is, guys. I don't know. Am I on drugs? Am I on crack? I don't know. But I really enjoyed Yui's performance. I really did. And I didn't really care for Yui for like all these episodes because I don't know, she didn't stand out too much, but she did for this performance. Like she put her whole mind and power into it, and it was fun to watch. It's so fun to watch. If it was a performance battle, I definitely would like that team more. The Yui, Jiyoon, that team more. I definitely like that performance better than the other one. I don't know. It was just way more fun to watch. Anyways, I'm very excited to see who from Ground moves on to part 2. Here are the people I'm voting for. Obviously, you don't have to vote for the same people as me. I am voting for Juwon, Coco, Jimin, Yuju, and Mintal and Giri. And I'm switching off Giri and Mintal for Ling Ling and Sujong every other day. This was Island 2 talk and just rant. Let me know what you guys think of the show in the comments. Who are your favorite contestants? I'm very curious to know, and I'll see you guys for when part 2 ends. I'm very excited. Bye.
괜찮은 문제는 모두 떨쳐버리고 이곳을 떠나 내가 원하는 곳으로 let me go 작은 비행기 속 날려보내 여유 fly so high 너무 높아서 내 손에 닿지가 않은 걸까